Dark fantasy, one of the greatest genres of all time. Worlds of political intrigue, hard magic systems, a dabble of science fiction every now and again, mature themes, and epic battles. Some of the greatest works of art fall under the dark fantasy umbrella. Today's comic is, however, not one of them. Welcome to another episode of infamous webcomics, Doomsayer. Typically, I just review these comics, but today I have a special guest, the author and artist of Doomsayer itself.
Hello.
So, I'll intersperse segments from our interview in between the review segments. Well, what better spot to begin than the beginning? That's what I like about webcomics and manga. They start at the start and not a cluster of universe timeline shenanigans like Marvel and DC. Anyway, let's begin with a synopsis. Quote, Doomsayer is a dark fantasy epic comic. It revolves around an ensemble cast of characters and their adventures around a continent suspended in the sky. Factions clash, alliances crumble, magic slaughters. Who will rule the land? Will the seventh queen of Celestos lead her people to ruin or prosperity? Will the emperor of Joki forge an alliance of peace? Will the faceless ones ever stop clashing with the Celestians in their holy land harvesting power metal? Only the sky goddess Celestia knows. That's a lot of words that I don't know what the hell they mean yet. A lot of vocab in this one, huh? Alright. Chapter 1, aptly titled Power Metal, starts with a map and a brief overview of the world's magic system. It's a pretty bare bones map, probably could have had more detail or a variant, but it's just there. It's a map that exists. I suppose that the author wanted to leave himself room to build. As for the brief summary of the magic system and world, one thing bugs me. So, you got this world called Celestos, right?
Yeah.
But there's this region named the same thing. That doesn't make sense, dude.
But it does, actually. It's one of those things that was going to be mentioned in passing, but the entire continent used to belong to Celestos before getting split up over time.
I have a feeling that you just made that up right now.
No. It's all according to plan.
If you say so. Well, we're introduced to some of our cast with this extremely poorly drawn castle. I can at least tell it's tall. So, this is Queen Celeste VII, current ruler of Celestos, and she's giving a mission to War Chief Kieran Gladstone and Royal Messenger Alyssa Harrington. Turns out, Celestos has been beefing with the Kingdom of Sinsage to the north. King Asenberg, the current ruler of the kingdom, wants to parley with Celestos. Parley? Is that the right word? Wouldn't it be negotiate peace talks? Whatever. Anyway, they're fighting over a power metal mine in Zakami, a territory part of the Kingdom of Sinsage. These mage bloods can use this power metal to perform essentially magic. The plot is already getting convoluted and we're only on the first few pages. Don't you think it's a bit much at the front?
Yeah, if I were to do it all over, I'd take my time at the start and probably make the art better.
Yeah, the art's pretty shit, isn't it?
Yeah, I know, it's absolutely atrocious. I should just quit, right?
Yeah, you really should. So Alyssa and Kieran are tasked with collecting the king's advisor, Gel, and his war chief, Olaf. Before they set off, the queen's advisor, Milton Thoreau, asks Alyssa to deliver a mysterious package to Lord Klaus in Dristland. The two head off and make a brief stop off-screen, placing an offering at some holy land called Himuku. Why didn't he show it? Probably because he couldn't draw it. We then cut to Joki, the territory on the eastern side of the map where the Emperor, Hiro Oshida, is arguing with his daughter Mai. Apparently Mai is meant to marry one of the Soulmans, a royal family in the Celestian territory that's fighting for its independence from Queen Celeste VII. The plot is getting very convoluted, but it's cohesive enough, I guess. The author really should have taken his time with this stuff. They fight and eventually Mai runs away. There's also a brief flashback to when the queen visited them and threatened the emperor into using his daughter as a pawn. Alright, so the queen's evil. I guess we'll just have to find out how evil. We then cut to another scene. But before we do, I just have to note this drawing of Mai here. What the fuck is going on with this anatomy? So, like this first scene with Mai and Emperor Oshida in chapter 1, what's going on here?
Yes, my, Liefeld moment.
Liefeld? You mean Rob? The Deadpool guy? Notorious for drawing some extremely questionable anatomy?
Yeah, that one?
This drawing is way worse than any of that stuff, though.
I really don't know what happened here.
You can't draw, can you?
No, not at all.
Anyway, we see this goth girl running away from a pack of crazies, and she bumps into this muscle mommy here. I'm starting to think that this author might get no bitches. The goth girl is Anna Everett, and the muscle mommy is Emma Bancole. More characters. Well, dark fantasy is usually written on a pretty big scale. Hopefully this doesn't become hard to keep track of. Emma leads Anna to safety, and that's a wrap on the scene. Not much happened but introductions. Well, maybe they'll play a bigger role later on. We then cut to a battle scene between the Solmans and the Celestian army, and the art is pretty rough here. Captain Williams of Celestos uses his Mage Blood abilities to basically one-shot the Solman army, and then they capture King Solman. Well, that was anticlimactic. Kind of fucking lame, to be honest. Maybe the artist couldn't draw a proper battle scene, I don't know. We then cut to another group of characters in Exana, the southern part of the map. These characters, Father Bartholomew, Brother Henry, and Sister Una, seem to be part of some kind of cult. They carve an upside-down triangle on some dead body and they start to cook it for consumption. Cannibal cult. Okay, now we're cooking. Literally. It seems they're eating these people to gain mage blood powers. Why? I guess we'll have to wait. We then cut to yet another scene in the Kingdom of Sinsaj, signaling that King Asenberg has received the message from the Queen and awaits Kieran and Alyssa's arrival with hope. Wow. That's a lot for a first chapter. It's a bit wordy too, but I guess we do need some exposition. That first chapter is a bit rough, man.
Yeah, well, most people's first webcomic ever usually start a bit rough, don't you think?
Yeah, but why are there so many characters?
So I can draw lewds of the female ones and sell them to gooners.
Oh, seriously?
No. Well, actually, yes, but the story does require some more characters. The cast won't get to, like, a Song of Ice and Fire level. Don't worry.
Alright, but the art sucks so bad.
Yeah, I know.
Alright, now we're in Chapter 2, so let's move this along a little bit faster. So we start Chapter 2 with Anna and Emma. Anna explains that she was running from those people because they seem to be part of that Bartholomew guy's cult. Her boyfriend, now obviously ex, murdered her parents and carved their symbols on their bodies, tried to abduct her because she's allegedly a quote-unquote pureblood, whatever that means, and sent the cult after her when she ran away with her cute little penguin squirrel pet thingy. So, what's up with Levi, dude?
He's there to be cute and for a bit of, comic relief in a dark story.
Bit of a tonal whiplash, don't you think?
You ever read Berserk? What's up with Puck?
Okay. Point taken. Emma, who happens to be a world-class bounty hunter, offers to stick with Anna for a while and train her in self-defense. Wow, that's convenient. I guess. Plot. Alright, so Anna starts a training arc. Hopefully the artist decides to train his drawing skills because goddamn the art is bad here. I mean, it's bad throughout, but Chapter 2 looks the worst so far. We then cut to Kieran and Alyssa making their way through Dristlin, approaching Lord Klaus's castle. There's some banter between the two, a mention of a Melissa character that owns an inn nearby that apparently has the hots for Kieran. Might be relevant for later. It's also noted that Klaus is a lecherous creep. Dirty old man trope? Seriously? Come on, what year is this? Captain Williams actually crosses paths with them, escorting King Solman to Celestos. Turns out Captain Williams is kind of a douche. It's also revealed that Solman has 3 sons, and Mayoshida, the heiress to the Jokian throne, is meant to marry one of them. If the plan falls through, Celestos and the Solmans will be fighting all over again. But before they can talk about the political implications, Advisor Thoreau's package starts jumping around. Alyssa uses her Mage Blood abilities to enhance her movement and capture the package. Against Thoreau's orders, her, Kieran, and Captain Williams take a peek, and we're blue-balled as we cut to another scene again. Man, why'd you do that?
It's called a cliffhanger, dude. It forces you to keep reading. You want to know what's in there, right?
Cliffhanger? More like a blue baller.
Have you seen the way I draw the women characters? Ain't nobody's balls bluer than mine.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. It's very, well, I guess the term male gaze comes into play.
Yeah, it is. By design. It's called target demographics. This story, while it surely can be enjoyed by women, is targeting a male audience. Believe it or not, the majority of men like women, and I don't mind a little bit of spice and fan service in my story.
Alright, point taken. Fair enough. Anyway, back to the story. We wrap up Chapter 2 in this very shittily drawn sequence of Mai roaming around Joki, raging about her father when she bumps into her friend Kimiko, another character. Goddamn, pull it back a little bit, man. Kimiko offers Mai some supplies for her escape when she explains the situation and then she leaves. And that's Chapter 2. The story is moving, but the art is shit. Just shit, man. The art gets slightly better in Chapter 3, but it's still pretty damn bad. King Solomon is delivered to Queen Celeste VII by Captain Williams, and the two just kind of scream at each other for a few pages. There's some back and forths, and King Solomon criticizes the Queen's divine right as nothing but bullshit made up to give her complete control over the people. The Queen really doesn't want the Solomons to secede for reasons that seem to be open-ended. At a certain point, the Queen pummels Solomon's face in and demands that he be publicly drawn and quartered. Okay, so the Queen's pretty damn evil going to those lengths. It's also noted that Solomon's sons know of the marriage strategy and will reject Mai as a bride. Will they? I guess the story will have to unfold to find out. The public execution takes place and the Queen rejoices. She's kind of a psycho, huh? Wonder how far the author will push this. Kieran and Alyssa arrive at Klaus's keep and deliver the package, but not before Klaus acts like Master Roshi around Alyssa. I don't really like the dirty old man trope, even if the comedy comes more so from the women's reaction. It's just a bit antiquated. So, Lord Klaus.
Yeah, I don't like him either.
Then why did you make him?
Keep reading and you'll find out.
Alright. Anyway, the two confess that they saw the contents of the package and Klaus is about to perform a lord dump. But the chapter ends. Well, at least the author knows how to keep the reader reading. Chapter 4. Chapter 4 starts with a Mai scene. Wow, what an asshole. I want to know what Klaus was going to say. Anyway, Mai reaches a boat that takes travelers across the Shamatarian Ocean to Shamatar. Turns out she doesn't have enough money, but the captain makes an offer to let Mai work as a deckhand in exchange for passage. Also, wow, the first mate, maybe the only woman in the series that doesn't have fucking Z-cups? Anyway, Mai sets off on the boat despite the captain recognizing her as the heiress. Shouldn't more people recognize her? I guess she doesn't get out much and honestly kind of reflected in her personality. Alright, the story's okay, but the art is still shit. We cut back to Alyssa and Kieran with Klaus lore dumping, finally. Should have moved that to the front, and wow, this is a bit much. So a little bit of a heavy lore dump. So Klaus explains that there are 5 classes of mage blood. Enhancers who use power metal to enhance their movement, environmentalists that use their power metal to manipulate the environment, shapers that can form pieces of power metal into anything they want, archers who can use power metal to fire projectiles, and the rare class of controller that can essentially use power metal for brainwashing. But wait, there's more. There's a range, a mage blood index, ranking from 5 to 1, 5 being the weakest and 1 being the strongest, as well as a theory that a class 0 can exist. Klaus explains that there are 5 major power metal mines in the world where pieces are harvested to arm mage bloods. Zakami, the northern one that the Celestians and Faceless ones are fighting over, Joki, the biggest one, a small one in Silabethia, one in Trinikai, and an off-limits one in Yastagard. Turns out there was a war between the Celestians and the Faceless ones 26 years ago. The mine was found and the Celestians wanted it, but it was also the birthplace of the Faceless one's deity, Estir. The war went on until Queen Celeste V, grandmother to Celeste VII, hired a blood searcher, a scientist that researches mage bloods to create a blood bomb made up of mage blood DNA, causing a colossal explosion and essentially nuking Yastagard, creating fallout that sealed off the territory. Did you seriously put nukes in a fantasy story?
You're damn right I did.
Why?
Can you name any other fantasy stories with nukes in it?
Not off the top of my head, no.
And boom, you'll never forget this one now.
Okay, so allegedly the Fallout is creating these creatures somehow, and a guy named Mike Watkins, a controller class mage blood, is catching them to send them to higher ups for research. Alyssa and Kieran leave to go visit Arkstead Inn and meet up with this Melissa character that they mentioned in the previous chapter. We cut back to Anna and Emma in Shamatar. Emma's teaching Anna some basic survival skills, and it's revealed that Anna's clothes tip off people that she's from Enkar. Obviously, if she's dressed like that, the cult is going to be looking for that fashion. She gets new clothes, and Emma eloquently gets a discount on her crossbow for Anna. They seek out the public bulletin and decide to hunt down a creep for their first bounty. There's also a breakdown of territories across the Sky Continent. It's also implied that Emma doesn't like the Queen of Celestos for some reason. Wow, that was a loaded chapter. Unfortunately, there were a lot of walls of text in this one, but at least the pace is picking up a little bit. The art's still shit, though. Maybe like 1% better. Then, on to Chapter 5, and you know what? This April Fool's joke seems a bit excessive. The joke is that it's my comic and I'm shitting on it and conducting a mock interview with myself. Funny, right? If you like the comic, go read it yourself. Mature audiences only. I would probably continue the review, but this video's got a deadline, dude. Not to mention, I doubt that many people will actually watch this one. Anyway, I do think my art did get a bit better over time, as well as my editorial and layout skills, but I still have a long way to go. Can't be talking shit about all these other comics without making fun of myself, right? But before we go, I did ask for some questions regarding the comics, so let's go ahead and check them out. We got one, did any of the characters or creatures from Doomsayer have scrap designs? Of course. Check out the Patreon, I'll be posting something like that soon. Which, actually, that is from one of my most loyal patrons. Shout out to Tropic. You the man. Or woman. Or whatever. I don't know. I can't see you. And we got one from Hollywood Tillier, another patron. Shout out to the patrons. You guys are the best. Scrap designs. Again, stay tuned to the patron. I got something like that coming out soon. How did I settle on the name Doomsayer, and was there any alternative names you were considering? Originally, the name of the comic was called Celestos, named after the world, but then I realized that's a really hard-to-search term that means nothing, and Doomsayer's got this kind of cool, vibe to it. It's just like a cool-sounding word. And also, if you accidentally type in Doomsayer instead of Doomslayer, if you're looking for Doom stuff, that'll pop up, and hey, maybe you'll get some Doom fans. It's got this kind of heavy metal aesthetic to it. Also, the creature that they're trying to stop is called the Doomsayer. Alright, next one. In terms of world building, were there any species that are part of your world that we haven't seen yet? No. I pretty much revealed all of the species. Map, how did the smaller islands off the main continent get attached to the rest of it, or are there some kind of narrow passages that existed between them and the bridges built on top of them? That's a good question. I don't know. I didn't even think about that when I was designing it. Will we ever find out where Levi comes from? Levi is a mascot type character to eventually sell to e-girls as plushies if this series pops off. That's what Levi came from. But I don't know, he's just there to look cute, a little bit of comic relief. Anyway, thanks for watching. April Fools. I'll see you next time. Adios.